Hi, this is the essential routine for November. We're going to start in parallel with our squats and we'll have a holding breath. So I want you to find your neutral, engage your core, roll your shoulders back and down, stabilising through the shoulder girdle, and then sit into the squat, hold it, breathe in, breathe out, and drive to standing. And again, squat. So weight goes back into the heels, we hold it. Breath in, breath out, we drive to standing. Squat and hold. Arm float is effortless and no higher than the shoulders. Breath in, breath out, drive to stand. Again, we squat, we hold. Breath in, breath out, driving to stand. We'll do two more. Squat and hold. Breath in, breath out, driving to stand, and then last one. Now keeping the same rhythm, we'll squat, but this time we'll heel raise, heel lower in squat. So we squat, heel raise, heel lower, and stand again. Now if your knees don't particularly like a double heel raise, work alternates. So you'd squat, lift one, lower it, drive to standing, squat, lift the other one, lower it, drive to standing. We'll do two more. Squat, heel raise, heel lower, stand, and last one. Squat, heel raise, heel lower, and then in standing we'll use that chin retraction into side neck stretch. We're going to follow the side neck stretch with a lateral stretch into the waist by leaning down towards the knee, and then we'll bring it back up to centre. Retract, side neck stretch, follow on, lateral stretch, reaching down to the knee and bring it to standing. Let's keep working that chin retraction, lateral flexion of the neck followed by lateral flexion of our spine, through to standing, retract and neck, follow through into the waist, up to standing, retract and neck, over we go, and hopefully we're feeling a bit more flexible with this one. We should find that the more repetitions that we do, the easier it is to stretch to the side as those tissues warm up and become a lot more pliable. So we'll do one more in each direction. And then last one. We'll follow this with some spine mobilisation, partial roll down, which you can do from the wall if you wish to. 3 points of contact, sacrum, shoulder girdle and head, and we're keeping the sacrum in contact for partial roll down. Flexing the spine to unstack and rebuild. So we'll do that again. Now the idea of our partial roll down is to learn the difference between spine, flexion and pelvic tilt. And that's why when we teach the partial roll down, it's really helpful if you've got the feedback of keeping your sacrum, the back of your pelvis, in contact with the wall, because then you know that your pelvis stays still, it stays upright, and you only get spine flexion. And then you can just be cautious with range of movement if you need to, working through pain-free range if you do have a flexion intolerant spine. It gets a little bit overexcited and causes you a little bit of aggro if you do flex through a certain range of movement. So keep working through the range that's good for you. We'll make that our last one, and then we'll come back to standing neutral. Now we're going to progress our squat, so add in rotation this time. So stand tall, open the chest, engage the core, sit back into squat, and then we rotate to the side, back to the centre, drive through to standing. Changing sides each time. So if you imagine you've got a box in your hands and you're just placing that box down onto the table at one side, and then onto the table at the opposite side. We'll continue to work that squat with rotation. Now this rotation is isolated up into your thoracic spine because your pelvis and your legs are staying still, and it's just the top of your body that is moving. We'll make this our last one. Okay, and then we're going back to our squat, and instead of the heel raise, I want you to tuck your tail, stick your bottom up into the air and drive through to standing. So it's a squat with lumbar flexion, lumbar extension, and then stand. A squat with lumbar flexion, lumbar extension, and stand. A squat with lumbar flexion, extension, and stand. Squat with flexion, extension, and stand. And last one. Wonderful. Moving into that neck stretch and side stretch, if we go into our chin retraction, our side neck stretch, we'll follow it down, and then we are going to raise this arm up and over so we get an added lat stretch, and you'll feel as the arm goes over, much deeper stretch. We'll release the arm, slide it back down, bring it back up, retract neck, side, and then just tickle right up the ribs, right over, lengthening through your fingertips, releasing the arm, back down the ribs, back up to standing. Now if you do find that the action of reaching the arm over is a little bit much, just skip that. And we can definitely feel the increase in the stretch as we go over. The weight of the arm just pulls us that little bit further into that lateral stretch. We'll make this our last one. Okay, so it's full roll down now. You might need to modify this to a soft knee if you have sciatic nerve irritation, okay? If not, you'll be absolutely fine working on a straight leg. So imagine that you're standing against the wall with those 3 points of contact. Let's peel forwards, taking the head and the shoulder blades off the wall. And then you're going to allow your pelvis to sway back while it goes into your heels. And you come right down into your full roll down. We'll reverse it to come up. So weight sways towards the toes, and then we build the spine back up on the pelvis. Going again. Forward flexion, pelvic tilt, weight sways back, we're rolling down, and we're rolling up. Final time, forward flexion, peeling away from the wall, and then hamstring stretching as we roll down, roll back up to standing. Okay, set of dynamic lunges, right leg leading. I'm going to drive it forwards and back. Stay with the right leg. Drive it forwards and back. Drive it forwards. So we're landing on the heel with the lunge. We'll go 4 more. And 3. Last 2. Stay in lunge on the last one. Okay, so here in our lunge position, we're going to dip down. And I want you to try to keep this knee pretty much above your ankle. Dip down and up, spine staying nice and tall. So there's a lot of work in your legs. We'll go for 4 more if we can. And 3. And 2. And then on the last one, we're going to stay down. Okay, bend forwards at the waist and take your hands onto the mat, and then you should be able to step yourself back into your 4-point neutral position. From here, if we tuck the toes, lift the knees, we go into the inverted V of the down dog, holding the stretch, visualising pushing your pelvis up towards the ceiling as you lower your heels towards the mat. We'll release out of it by walking our hands to our feet. You might need to bend your knees as you do that, and rolling to standing. Now we're going to repeat that left leg. So it's a dynamic lunge, forwards and back on the left. And 4 more, and 3 more, last 2, and then we stay forwards on the last one. Okay, here comes our dips, both knees bending, down and up, staying tall and upright, weight in that front heel, so that we don't have a great big flexed knee position. We're going for 4 more, and 3, the last 2, and on the last one we're staying down. So again, we lean forwards, take the hands down and come back to 4-point kneeling. Make a curve in your back, tuck your toes, lift up and back, pushing into down dog, pelvis going high, heels going down, holding for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1, before walking the hands back towards our feet and rolling up to standing. Wonderful work. Okay, once we've made it to our standing position, we're going to start off with cat stretches next. So from our standing position, we'll engage our core, pulling up, pulling in. We'll flex ourselves forwards, rolling down and walking into 4-point kneeling. Now, what I would like you to do is I would like a cat flexion, a cat extension, a tuck of the toes and a push back to down dog. Coming back to 4 points, we'll go cat flexion, cat extension, tuck the toes, push back to down dog. Transition 4 points. Now, alternative to this, if you find the flexion extension of the cat with the push into down dog is too much, stay with cat stretch. Just skip the push back into your down dog. 4 points. Cat flexion, cat extension, push up and back into down dog. We'll do another 2 cycles. 4 points. Cat flexion, cat extension, push up and back into down dog. And last time, cat flexion, cat extension, push up and back, down dog. We'll be making our way to lying on our tummy to do the breaststroke prep sequence next, and we'll work through all stages 1, 2 and 3. So it is handy if you've got a pad for underneath your forehead. Finding our W-arm position, legs are parallel and our core muscles are engaged. We exhale to slide the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, peeling our face and chest off the mat, lifting into thoracic extension. Exhale, release the spine. Inhale, release the shoulder girdle. Exhale, slide the shoulder blades down. So we've got depression of the scapula, followed by extension of the thoracic spine. So we're really focused here on lifting the chest, keeping those shoulders back, keeping the shoulders down. Slide the shoulder blades, peeling up, releasing the spine, releasing the shoulder girdle. Slide the shoulder blades. Inhale, peeling up. Exhale, releasing the spine. Inhale, releasing the shoulders. Last 2 repetitions. Exhale, slide the shoulder blades. Inhale, peel up. Exhale, release the spine. Inhale, release the shoulders. And last one. Exhale, shoulder blades. Inhale, peeling up. Exhale, releasing the spine. Inhale, releasing the shoulders. Stage 2 position sees us with our hands down by our hips. Preparation, breath in to engage the core. Moving on the out breath, we retract the shoulder girdle, rotate into the shoulder joint. Breathing in, we float into a very, very soft lumbar extension. Exhale, release the lumbar spine. Inhale, release the shoulder girdle. Exhale, retract. Inhale, float. Exhale, release. Inhale, let the shoulders go. So our eye focus with stage 2 is always down at the mat. We maintain the neutral neck and we change the degree of curve in the lumbar spine. Again, the focus is on keeping the chest open as we squeeze those shoulder blades back. So do be quite vigorous in terms of activating your shoulder blades, squeezing them back, changing the position of that shoulder joint, but making sure that that movement does come from shoulder blades and you're not raising your arms into the air. Last time through. Exhale, shoulder blades. Inhale, float. Exhale, release, and then inhale, let the shoulders go. Stage 3 sees us place our fingers underneath our forehead. Taking a preparation breath, we engage our core. On the out breath, we float, face, chest, and arms. In breath, we lower. Out breath, we float. In breath to lower. I want you to try to keep your buttocks quite relaxed here so that you're not clenching them. There will be a fair amount of work going on in your lower back here. Aim to keep the legs on the floor so that the lower half of your body compared to the top half of your body is nice and rested. We'll make these our last 2 and then our final one. When we come out of that last repetition of breaststroke prep 2, we're going to push ourselves up and back into our shell position. And then we'll be using a roll down from kneeling to take us into our push-up sequence. But first, we have to get from shell to kneeling. So to get from shell to kneeling, you're going to start to raise your buttocks off your heels, slide your hands along the mat towards your knees, and roll yourself up to a high kneeling position, opening the chest at the top. From here, we flex the spine, rolling down to touch the mat, and then we walk into 4-point kneeling. Stabilizing the shoulder girdle, the pelvic girdle. We keep the eye focus in front of the fingers. We bend our elbows, keeping them close to our body as we go into our push-up. And then we extend. We bend, extend, bend, extend. Now it's really vital that you get your positioning correct with push-up and your nose goes in front of your fingers so that you work hard enough. Sit back to shell. Taking a break. And then from our shell position, we'll allow our pelvis to lift away from our heels. We're rolling up to a high kneeling position, opening the chest at the top, and then we roll it down, unstacking, flexing forwards, taking the hands to the mat. So precision, please. 4-point neutral. Swaying your weight forward so your nose is going to the mat in front of your fingers. Bending. 3, 2, 1. Straighten. 3, 2, 1. Bend. 3, 2, 1. Straighten. 3, 2, 1. Bend. 3, 2, 1. Straighten. 3, 2, 1. Last time. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. And recover. Face down on the mat for swimming preps, please. Extending the arms. We're raising face, chest, arm on one side, leg on the opposite side, and then we lower. Exhale. Inhale down. Exhale. Inhale down. Exhale. Inhale down. Visualize reaching away from the body with the fingers and toes on opposite sides of the body, rather than trying to lift as high as you possibly can. If you're happy where you are, stay with it. Increase the load, both legs, both arms, reaching. 8 and lower. 7 and lower. 6, 5, 4, legs staying dead straight across the back of the knee. 3, 2, final one, and we release. Now our recovery will be in shell, but with a wide knee position. Bring your feet close, great big gap between your knees, sit your pelvis back onto your heels, and then soften yourself down to feel the inner thigh stretch as you allow your back to release and rest from all the work it has just been performing. As you hold your shell, focus on your breathing, allowing your breath out to encourage your muscles to relax. We'll take one more cycle of breath in and out in shell position before releasing. Now we'll be moving to seated for the half roll back. Not everybody tolerates this exercise very well, so you can do a seated supported I to J movement rather than the half roll back. If you are managing any back pain and it is disc related, I would advise lying on your back and doing a pelvic tilt here instead. The rest of you are going to work in spine flexion to do half roll back, exhaling as you roll back, inhaling as you roll up. Exhaling to roll back and inhaling to roll up. Now our half roll back is an inner range rectus abdominal holding exercise. So the distance between the rib cage and the pelvis is shorter than it is normally. And we are keeping the short distance. Pelvis rolls away from our thighs. And the actual muscles here that are shortening and lengthening are our hip flexors. We'll go for 4 more. And up. 3 more. And up. 2 more. And up. Final one. And then when we roll up, we're going to stack to seated neutral. You may want to sit on a block, stretching out the hip rotators. We'll have one leg straight, cross the opposite leg over, rotating towards the bent knee. And we draw that bent knee towards us to feel the stretch in the outside of the hip. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release and reverse the stretch. So you cross your leg over. You're always rotating towards your bent knee and you're pulling that bent knee towards your body. We are holding the stretch. The stretch, you're going to feel it in your buttock. You might feel it a little bit in your back as well because our spine is in a rotated position with this stretch. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now the next exercise we're practicing, it's a progression on knee roll. So if you find that this exercise is a little bit much for you, then you can lie down on your back and you can work your knee roll as you already know. Okay. So the exercise that we're going to work on is can-can. So for can-can, we've got legs glued together exactly as we would do for knee roll. However, our body position is slightly different. And rather than lying on our back, we are going to be working on an extended arm line. So not everybody's wrists like this. There is a variation where you can come back onto your elbows. Now again, it's quite a strong stretch for the front of your shoulders. So if you can tolerate it, go with it. Okay. If not, lying on your back. Okay. So with our can-can, range of movement is exactly the same as knee roll. But on the third rotation, you're going to kick your leg. So we rotate for 3, 2, 1, kick the leg. Rotate. 3, 2, 1, kick the leg. Rotate. 3, 2, 1, kick the leg. Rotate. 3, 2, 1, kick the leg. So obviously there's a progression with this one and you can probably guess what it is. Kick both legs, rotate. 3, 2, 1, kick both legs, rotate. 3, 2, 1, kick both legs, rotate, 3, 2, 1, kick both legs, last time for 3, for 2, for 1, kick. Wonderful. So a lot of oblique work going on there, but again, quite strenuous in terms of your back with your can-can. Moving on to the neck pull prep next, okay. So we are going to sit with our knees bent and our spine straight with our fingers on our forehead. And the first thing we are going to do is keep the spine neutral, hinge back and up. So your movement here is from the hip joint. You're leaning back, you're trying to keep the neutral spine and coming back up. If you're happy to stay at that level, please do. To progress this, you're going to hinge back and then perform a pelvic tilt. So you've got lumbar flexion here and you've just engaged the rectus abdominals. Roll forwards over the knee and stack the spine to neutral. So it becomes a hinge, flex, forwards and stack. Hinge, flex, forwards and stack. So this is important that your flexion comes from the lumbar spine, and what you don't do is you don't round into the shoulders. So you don't want to hinge round the shoulders over and up. We're really focusing here on lumbar flexion rather than thoracic flexion. We hinge, flex, forwards and up. Last one. Again, it's another one that's quite vigorous and there's a lot of activation here of your hip flexors because they are the dynamic muscle that has been working. We're moving on to our back for the next section of exercises. We're going to start with double leg stretch and then we'll take it into scissors. Use a small pad underneath your head if you need to. Finding neutral, engaging your core muscles and bringing legs to tabletop. Hands at the outside of our knees. Now, if you have neck issues, I would like you just to keep your head on the floor for these exercises so you can spare your neck. If you're free of neck issues, we'll rock into chin tuck and raise our head or shoulder blades off so we're at the top of the ab prep. With double leg stretch, we reach both legs, both arms away, holding the neutral as we do. Circle the arms and come back to tabletop legs. We exhale to reach, inhale to return. If you're a little bit restricted for room at home and you don't have enough room to circle, just go straight back and straight in. Forwards with your arms, skipping the circle out to the side. To alter the degree of challenge, change the angle of your legs and your arms so you go a lot lower as you're reaching it out, and that will increase the amount of work that your abdominal muscles are doing. To decrease it, you go up, and you can also go with alternate legs as well. So if you find double leg strenuous, alternate legs will make it a wee bit easier. Last 2 repetitions. And last one. Okay, now we send the toes to the ceiling at this point, and we take a controlled double pulse into the scissors stretch. So it's an easing into a hamstring stretch. This is another one of those exercises. It doesn't suit everybody, and it is important that you listen to your body. If you manage any sciatic nerve irritation, you may find that just by bending your knee as it comes in, prevents any irritation of the sciatic nerve, but does give you a gentle stretch into your hamstring. And if this combination of exercises just doesn't work for you, remember you can have your head on the floor. A static hamstring stretches at this point in the class will be a nice replacement exercise. One more to each side. And then we reach both toes to the ceiling, tuck the knees and rest ourselves down. Fabulous work. Placing our feet on the floor, we're going to work pelvic floor muscles now. So hold pelvis and spine in neutral. We're targeting the fast twitch fibres. Nobody will see anything move, but we will feel our pelvic floor movement. And we'll feel a lift into the perineum As we engage the pelvic floor, we're going to try to engage maximally and as fast as we can before we release it. So the target is the fast twitch fibres of pelvic floor. Contract, 1, release. Think about this like a light switch being turned on and off. Contract, 2, hold, release. Contract, 3, hold, release. Contract, 4, hold, release. Contract, 5, hold, release. Contract, 6, hold, release. Contract, 7, hold, release. Contract, 8, hold, release. Contract, 9, hold, release. Last time, contract, 10, hold and release. Excellent work. So keeping feet, knees and ankles in lovely parallel line. Arms on the floor. I'd like you to lift to the top of your bridge, please. And then if you're managing any sacroiliac instability issues, stay with bridge. And you can either lift and lower your toes like so, or you may find that you prefer to lift and lower your heels like so in your bridge position, okay? If you're free of SI issues, we are going to bring one leg into tabletop, extend to the ceiling, straight leg lower, so you've got parallel thighs, straight leg lift, tabletop leg, place that foot on the floor, change to the opposite one, tabletop, extend, straight leg lower, straight leg lift, tabletop, and release. We're going to follow that with an articulation down out of bridge, coming back to neutral where we engage and lift again. Changing our leading leg, we move leg to tabletop, extend, straight leg lower, straight leg lift, tabletop, releasing, changing sides, tabletop, extend, straight leg lower, straight leg lift, tabletop, release, rolling down out of bridge. Now our aim is for another 2 cycles, so we're finding neutral at the bottom, engaging to lift, tabletop, extend, straight leg down, straight leg up, tabletop, release, tabletop, extend, straight leg down, straight leg up, tabletop, release, spine articulation down, and final repetition, lift, lead leg, tabletop, extend, straight leg, and up, tabletop, release, tabletop, extend, straight leg down, up, tabletop, release. Beautiful spine articulation down, and then we're going to move to side lying. Propping ourselves up on our elbow. Okay, so we're going to bring spine to neutral. We need to do that by lifting the ribs at this point and feeling how the spine comes into a beautiful straight line. Once we've got the lift and we've activated our core muscles, I'd then like you just to load your shoulder, lifting the pelvis off the mat, and we'll reach to the ceiling, holding our modified side plank for the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, releasing down. Moving to side lying spine rotations, we do need to support our head. You can use a cushion off your couch. I've got a 3-inch pad. Legs come forwards and we come down into side lying. Take a breath in, we engage our core. Dog's come to say hello. Reach to the ceiling. Breath out, we rotate. Holding the end point of the rotation, we breathe in, stay. Breathe out, stay. Breathe in, stay. And then our breath out, we return. We go again, breath in, engage the core and reach. Breath out, rotate. Breath in, breath out, breath in, and breath out to release. Twice more, breathe in, engage the core and reach. Nice strong shoulder, breath out to rotate. Breathe in, stay. Breathe out, stay. breathe in, stay. Breath out to close, and our final one, breathe in, engage, reach, draw the shoulder and rotate. Breathe in, stay. Breathe out, stay. Breathe in, stay. And breath out to close. Okay, lateral flexion is the aim of the next exercise, and this is our mermaid stretch. So for the mermaid stretch, we come up to seated. Now we are sat just on one side of our pelvis here. So this just puts the pelvis into already kind of a lateral tilt. So you're short on one side and you're long on the other side, and that means it's going to be easy to bend one way and hard to bend the opposite way. If your pelvis does not like being in this position, please don't force it to do it. Sit evenly on both sit bones, and then you'll find your pelvis will be level and you'll be able to get the same degree of side bend in both directions, okay? So that's how you modify mermaid. Right, we're going to start with the legs tucked up. What we'll do is we'll do one side and then we'll immediately switch to the opposite side, so you don't need to worry about which side you've done. We'll raise the arm. We're going for the easy stretch first, and that means we can get a really, really lovely lateral stretch over. Feels nice and easy, nothing tough about that at all. For the harder stretch, you do need to anchor yourself, so you're going to hold on to your shin, raise the other arm, use your shin as a point that you can pull against to take yourself into your lateral stretch the opposite way. It'll all feel quite a lot harder to go that way. Come back to centre, release. So we lengthen the arm, we lean to the side, we return to the long arm position, we release. You anchor, lengthen, lean, and return and release. Let's go again, one more time in each direction. Lengthen and lean, and return and release. Final little bit. Lengthen, lean, and return and release. Okay, so changing our legs. We'll swivel them around the opposite way, and I always just line the sole of my foot up with my thigh, and then that shin is parallel to the end of the mat. Okay, easy stretch first. Lengthen and lean, and return and release. Find your anchor point. Lengthen, lean, and return and release. Going again. Lengthen, lean, and return and release. Lengthen, lean, and return and release. One more in each direction. Lengthen and lean. Beautiful stretch over. Return and release. Last one. Lengthen, lean, return and release. Now if we do sideline rotations on this side, so bring your pad to the opposite end, set yourself up, knees and feet are forwards. So we take our preparation breath in once we found our neutral in sideline, reach to the ceiling, draw the arm into the shoulder, breath out to rotate, holding breath. Breathe in to stay, breathing out to stay, breathing in to stay, and breath out to return. Breathe in, engage the core, reach, shoulder into the socket, rotate, holding breath. In to stay, breathe out to stay, breath in to stay, and breath out to return. So it's deep pelvic floor and transverse to activate before you reach, strengthen the shoulder, and then twist it backwards. Hold it, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, release, and final repetition on this side. Breathing in to engage our core, reach, strong shoulder, breath out to rotate, holding, breath in, breath out, and breath in, breath out to release it. Okay, side plank, modified form. We want to position our feet so that they're in line with our pelvis, knees are poking forwards, elbows directly underneath our shoulder. Come to your long straight alignment. So you've done that by lifting the rib cage up, and you can feel the difference in the spine position. You're going to support the spine with the core, and then we raise the pelvis off, lift the arm to the ceiling, holding for the count of 10, and as we hold, concentrate on keeping the pelvic floor and the transverse active. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it back down. Excellent work. Okay, let's move on to our lying exercises. We're going to do the single leg stretch, and then we'll do the crisscross obliques, and then we're going to be working on pelvic tilt, okay, with an exercise called rollover prep, and I'll show you a few different levels of that. So for our single leg stretch, position is pelvis and spine in neutral, core muscles engaged, collarbones long, arms stretching down. We bring our legs to tabletop. Any neck issues, again, you keep your head on the floor and you work with your hands on your knees only. If you're free of neck issues, you tuck your chin, you raise your head and shoulder blades off. So we're going to hold one knee, straighten out the other leg, and then we change 1, change 2, change 3, change 4, change 5, change 6, change 7, change 8, change 9 and 10, 11. We're going all the way to 20, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now to get into the crisscross obliques, we're going to keep the legs going as they are, fingers behind the ears, and then as the knee comes in, the front of the opposite shoulder, rotate, 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 and rotate for 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both knees in and rest down. Pelvic tilt as part of rollover prep. Now, if we place our feet onto the floor, we can get a really nice, easy pelvic tilt. So this will always be our baseline move, and this is what I would like you to come back to, either when you have done enough or when you are working at the level that's good for you, okay? Make it a little bit harder. Take one leg to tabletop. Try to pelvic tilt with one leg at tabletop. Notice how much you're tending to push into the foot that's on the floor, and then try to decrease the amount of push of the foot into the floor. Obviously, because we've got one foot down and one foot up, we need to change. So if we do that now, so we're pelvic tilting with one leg at tabletop. We want to be very, very active into our abdominal muscles here. So rather than just pushing with this foot and pushing ourselves into posterior pelvic tilt, scoop with the abdominals. Okay, let's add another layer, taking it a little bit harder still. Both legs to tabletop, pelvic tilt, all from the abdominals. If you've reached your limit, go back to pelvic tilt, both feet on the floor, please. Add a layer, straight legs, pelvic tilt. Now at this point, you'd be working on increasing your range of movement so that your pelvic tilt becomes much more a peel of your spine off. This is quite a difficult move for your spine to do. So if you are in any doubt at all as to whether or not this is the right thing for you to do the nutritious bit, okay? So don't push it, do the really nice bit, do the pelvic tilt, feet down, okay? You have to balance the effect that you'll get from practicing the exercise with how challenging the exercise is. And sometimes if you are managing a back condition, it's not worth challenging the exercise because it probably won't help. So we'll make this the last one of whichever version of our exercise we are working on. Okay, lovely. So again, that was all based on pelvic tilt movement pattern, and it just altered how difficult our pelvic tilt became. We're going to move back onto our seated position next to stretch the inner thigh. We'll use the short adductor stretch where we place our feet together and we push our knees open to the sides. Now there's quite a nice lateral line stretch from this one. If we extend one leg, the leg that is bent, we place that hand behind us, and then we're going to roll onto the front of the shin, lift the arm and stretch ourselves back. We'll hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before releasing, and then we need to reverse that. So we're bending the opposite leg, taking the other leg straight. Whichever is your bent leg, you put that hand behind you. It's the front of your shin. You're going to raise up onto, stretch the arm back and hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing down. Bringing our feet together and sitting tall. Do sit on a block or a book if you need to here. Seated hip rotator stretch, bending right leg, crossing it over and looking over the right shoulder, keeping the spine tall as we hold the stretch into the back of the hip. Releasing and changing to the opposite side. We'll practice a slump stretch next. Your leg position can either be bent knees as you slump forwards, or if you prefer and your hips move like this, you can go into a cross-legged position and then you can flex forwards from your cross-legged position. Releasing from the slump stretch, we're going to work in plank. So I should very much like you to have your hands at the front of the mat, 4-point kneeling, pelvis and spine in neutral with your core muscles engaged, and then we're going to step ourselves back. Nice long straight leg, bracing the leg and bringing the other leg back. Nice tight thighs and clenched buttocks as we hold our plank. The work, but of course it will be in your shoulders, it will be in your wrists. So if you do need to modify this and go onto your elbows, that is an option. You may also find that you prefer a 3/4 position, where rather than being on your feet, you are on the lower leg. And both of those are viable options for this exercise. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll release, coming back to kneeling position, stepping forwards with one leg and tucking our tail between our legs to open into the hip flexor. Now we've done a lot of work on triceps when we were doing our push-ups, so we'll stretch those out at the same time. Raise one arm, bend at the elbow, so you are placing your hand towards the back of your neck. I'll turn round. And then you can either press the fleshy part of your arm, grasp your elbow, or if your arms work like that, you can interlink your fingers and hold on at the back for a nice focused stretch into the back of the arm. We'll hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before releasing. Straighten out this leg. You're going to heel down, toe up, lean forwards, keeping the neutral. You'll feel stretch hamstring once you get to a certain angle. And we're going to hold it. So still try to keep your lumbar curve here so it feels like you're sticking your bottom up into the air. Okay, and release. Switch legs that you're kneeling on, stepping your other leg forwards and tucking the tail to go into hip flex or stretch. Raising your opposite arm, bend at the elbow, placing that hand behind your head to the back of your neck. Again, you've still got those points, back of the arm, elbow or interlinking fingers behind you. And you might find that you can do that interlink on one side, but not on the opposite side. Try to remain in that posterior pelvic tilt so you are getting a good stretch into the hip flexor as well as getting the stretch into the arm. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing. Hamstring stretch. Straighten out, lean forwards. Keep the curve here. Try not to let yourself flex. Okay, so always try to think about having the chest open and lifted, keeping that lovely lumbar curve as we stretch into the hamstrings. So we've got 5 more seconds to hold the stretch. 4, I'll count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing. Now we're going to use down dog to bring it to standing. If that doesn't work for you, you can use your lunge and step up from your high kneeling position directly into your standing position. If it does, we're placing our hands back down, we're making an exaggerated lumbar curve, tucking the toes, lifting the knees, pushing up and back into down dog. When we get there, we'll walk through the feet. So we've got alternate calf stretches from our down dog position. We'll do a set of 8 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 before pressing both heels down, pressing the pelvis high, pushing the head back between the arms. Let's release by walking hands to feet. Bend your knees if you need to. Strong core and roll up to standing. Once we're standing, let's just give the shoulders a roll back. Shake out the hips, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, and then finish with a nice deep breath in. Little bit of extension. Bring the hands down. Well done, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed that. Great work.